Imagine this. It's January 2025. The crypto bull market is going bananas. You're looking pretty darn rich on paper, of course, and it ain't anywhere close to the peak yet. And so you think, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to ride this thing all the way to the top. But what if the bull market were to end sooner than you think? Would you believe me? Would you believe anyone trying to tell you? And more importantly, are you prepared for that eventuality to happen? Anything's possible in the cryptocurrency market. So in this video, I'll be diving into an interesting indicator that suggests this crypto bull market might be shorter lived than previous cycles have been, and exactly when Bitcoin could peak. Stay prepared because the unexpected could happen this cycle. Let's start with when the crypto market has historically peaked. The crypto market has historically moved in 4-year cycles driven by Bitcoin's halving event that impacts supply and demand metrics. A typical 4-year cycle sees Bitcoin's price go up for 12 to 18 months post halving, down for 1 year during the bear market, followed by a 1-year recovery accumulation phase leading into the next Bitcoin halving. On average, it takes Bitcoin between 518 and 546 days after its halving to reach its price peak. In the 2015-2017 cycle, Bitcoin peaked 518 days after its halving. And the 2019-2021 cycle, it peaked 546 days after the halving. Now, if history repeats, then that means Bitcoin's peak would fall somewhere between the 20th of September and the 18th of October in 2025. The power law model also agrees and sees Bitcoin peaking in October 2025 at a price of $255,000 per coin based on historical data. The Bitcoin power law model forecasts Bitcoin's future price as if it were within the laws of physics. The power law essentially provides a lower price support band, which has held since Bitcoin traded at just $1. So worth paying attention to. When it comes to the rest of the cryptocurrency market, the altcoins tend to peak a little bit after Bitcoin does. Within the following 2 to 4 weeks, you want to sell all of your altcoins. So if Bitcoin was to peak earlier than expected, it's highly likely that altcoins will also follow shortly thereafter. Now, the sentiment at the time from the previous 2 cycles was mega bullish with a combination of these famous last words. This time is different. Lengthening cycles. We're going to see mass adoption. The institutions are coming. Well, now the institutions are clearly here. Yet the sentiment for the cycle so far is relatively flat with a lot of it's just the same old cycle talk out. This time is not different, right? The market has a habit of doing what you least expect, of course. So it's a possibility that we could see a shorter than expected bull market this time around. But before I share with you the indicator which could see Bitcoin's peak come early, I wanted to let you know about the Wealth Mastery newsletter, your weekly guide to the cryptocurrency markets. Our readers love it, and I'm sure you will too. Here's why. Every week, my team of researchers and I, we help you not just stay ahead of the curve of the market, but also to save your time by finding you the latest and the greatest insights on altcoins, meme coins, DeFi, airdrops, charts, and much, much more. You can join 135,000 plus weekly readers for free. Link in the description or the pinned comment over on X. Now, let's look at the case for the bull market ending earlier than expected. The CEO of data analytics company CryptoQuant has shared an interesting take on when Bitcoin will peak. His cycle theory is that Bitcoin will peak by April 2025 because he believes Bitcoin is right in the middle of its bull market now, not the early stages. And it actually corresponds to the relationship between Bitcoin's market cap and its realized cap. He noted that Bitcoin's market cap is growing faster than the growth in its realized cap. Whilst market cap is the price multiplied by the circulating supply, the realized cap values Bitcoin slightly differently. Rather than valuing Bitcoin as an asset based on its current market price, it values Bitcoin based on the price when each coin was last moved. It's the realized value of all the coins in the market rather than the market value. So it weighs coins based on how active they are in the market and therefore reduces the impact of lost and dormant coins. With the growth in realized cap lagging behind the market cap, it shows that accumulation is still happening with sellers profiting rather than being forced to sell at a loss. Right now, more than 30% of Bitcoin's supply hasn't moved in over 5 years, which shows long-term holders are extremely bullish on the future of Bitcoin. But they're not just sitting on dormant wallets, they're accumulating more. Bitcoin whales have been increasing their holdings by a monthly growth rate of 6.3 3%. That's insane. That's the fastest growth rate since April 2023. This itself is an important date in the shortened cycle theory. That's because Bitcoin's market cap has only exceeded its realized cap for around 2 years at a time before we see a seismic shift in the distribution of coins within the market. So if this pattern continues, Bitcoin will hit that crucial 2-year mark by April 2025, and this is when we could expect to see the bull market end. By the way, that would also kind of line up with the 2021 cycle where we saw an early peak at least. Maybe we don't get a second peak like we did in 21. Food for thought. But anyway, it's far too early to be calling the top now. It's something you have to assess as the time goes by. The speed at which the bull market continues to unfold may force the peak earlier or delay it further. Bitcoin is accelerating in this cycle by 260 days, with the spot Bitcoin ETFs being a major catalyst for that early price move. Bitcoin usually doesn't make a new all-time high until after the halving, but the ETFs forced an earlier than expected all-time high of $73,000 in the week before the halving. Since then, these spot ETFs have accumulated around $58 billion worth of Bitcoin in what the market thought for sure was going to be a big liftoff. However, thanks to the current consolidation and sideways chop, what we've seen for the past 4 months, this rate of acceleration has dropped dramatically. Now, Rect Capital, who writes for our newsletter, by the way, his analysis highlights the acceleration has reduced from 260 days to around 150 days. So we're still ahead of schedule, but nowhere near as much. The longer Bitcoin consolidates over the summer, the better it will be for resynchronizing the current cycle with the historical halving cycle. Only time will tell. But if indeed we are in an accelerated cycle, then Bitcoin could peak much sooner than people think. And Donald Trump, of course, certainly throwing the market a curveball right now as we head closer to the U.S. election. Trump is reportedly considering appointing J.P. Morgan's Jamie fricking Dimon. Jamie fricking Dimon, man, as the Treasury Secretary, who apparently has flipped his opinion on Bitcoin. And if he reelected as president and with Trump's pro-crypto VP, who actually holds Bitcoin, Bitcoin could become an asset on the U.S.'s balance sheet much sooner than anyone could have anticipated. And those are big promises, pre-election promises, right? So take it with a grain of salt. And there's definitely going to be some fireworks in Q4 with the election and interest rate cuts. So it's possible that Bitcoin has a couple more phases left of the bull market before we actually see a peak. But one thing to bear in mind, no pun intended, is that there's no one indicator alone that has all the answers. So before we can talk about calling a peak, we'll need to see several indicators flashing alongside the realized cap. The Pi cycle top indicator, the RSI Bollinger Bands. These are just a couple very important ones to watch out for. And the Pi cycle top indicator is called the last 2 cycles peaks within just a few days, except in 2021, it called April 2021's top, but not the later top. And anyway, with Bitcoin's correlation to the global money supply, all eyes will be on the broader economic cycle to help identify the top. The easiest thing for you to do is to continue to dollar cost average in and out of the market to avoid missing the peak and avoid losing profits. Okay, that's it. Let me know if you think Bitcoin will peak earlier than people expect, and if so, why? I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.